What's up, guys? Welcome back to Nerd Media, and this is gonna be the spoiler review for Deadpool and Wolverine. My middle clause not working out well. Okay, here we go. Deadpool and Wolverine. Let's effing go. So the way this review is gonna work is essentially I'm going to be giving you guys the pros that I feel, for my opinion, were good about the film, the cons about the movie, some of my favorite moments, some great cameos, and just overall my thoughts and how I think that this fits with the overall MCU pretty much. And let's start out with talking about that opening scene. So that opening scene to me is just, man, it's probably my favorite opening scene to a Marvel film. Infinity War still has a great opening scene. How do I angle this? Anyway, Infinity War has a great opening scene to it, I will say. But I think this one overtakes it. I mean, just the use of the song Bye 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 and how the song syncs up with like some of the hits that Deadpool does on the TVA. That's one of my favorite things that people do in like superhero projects. Plus the choreography that Wade was doing, hilarious, and everybody was hyping up this scene, and it was well worth it because, I mean, they completely retconned one of the things that I thought was going to happen in the film. I thought that the woods for sure was going to be the Age of Ultron woods. No, it was the Logan woods, just like everybody else said it was, and I just seem insane now because I seem like just weird. Like, I predicted so many MCU things that didn't happen in this film, and a lot of people, I know for sure there are going to be some diehard Logan fans that are upset about that whole opening scene and how he dug up his grave and everything. Personally, for me personally, I thought it was pretty funny, and I'm gonna be very honest. I don't really care. I don't think it. I'm not gonna look at the Logan. Not gonna look at Logan like differently now. I mean, it's still one of my favorite comic book movies of all time, and my favorite Wolverine movie. So it's really not gonna change anything for me. I mean, I thought it was a great opening scene, and it did that classic Deadpool thing where they pause in the middle of the scene, and then he takes us back to how we got there in the first place. And it's a phenomenal opening scene, and it really does set the tone for the film and for what to expect, especially for the fight scenes, because not to mention the fight scenes were amazing in this film. Like, Sean Levy knows how to direct fight scenes, and yeah, it's really great. And let's jump into the other segment. I mean, actually, why did I say that? Anyway, opening scene was phenomenal. Beginning to end, literally, the beginning scene and the end scene were all amazing. I mean, the credits, I love what they did with the credits, man. It's such a great appreciation to the Fox X-Men universe, and just such a great way that they did that. And to me, that was a really nice and sweet touch to the film that I'm really glad that they put in there. I mean, those are just my basic thoughts on the beginning part of the film and the end of the film. So let's talk about things that aren't in the credits of the film. Let's just talk about what you would normally talk about in a movie review. Also, by the way, my boy Spidey's a little bit upset that he wasn't in the movie. You can just tell that he's ready for vengeance. I mean, he's just, man, he's out for blood for Deadpool now. I mean, he is pretty upset, let me tell you right now. But that brings me to the cameos. I don't know why that brought me to the cameos, but it did. Let's talk about the cameos. I'm gonna just say it right now. I called it for the people that tuned into my podcast and watched my stream on Wednesday. I predicted that Johnny Storm, Human Torch, Chris Evans was gonna be playing him. I predicted all of that was gonna be in the film, and what happened? He was in the film, and it was honestly awesome. He didn't have to be in the film for a long time, and he was actually in there longer than I thought he was going to be when he initially showed up. I was like, oh, he's probably going to die soon. And he did, in a very disturbing way. But hey, I mean, we got him for 10 minutes, and then the whole post-credit scene was about him. I thought that was one of the funniest post-credit scenes ever. Just him basically saying everything that Deadpool acted like he said, which he did say. And I thought that it was honestly really awesome to see Chris Evans play this sort of character that just says whatever he wants, when we had him as Captain America in the MCU, and he was very conscious about what he said and everything. I mean, I thought that was a really cool touch, how they basically had him play a whole entire opposite, you know what I mean? That was pretty cool. And dude, Wesley Snipes' Blade, are you kidding me? I did not I did not expect him to come in at all. And when he showed up, I was like, I didn't expect him to be that big of a like character or role in this film. He was a huge role. So was Elektra and so was Gambit. And they actually served huge purposes towards the story, and I love that. And when I've seen the film 3 times now, so I have like my official thoughts on the film and everything. I think that if I had to rank the cameos, I would probably put Happy Hogan at the bottom, Elektra on number 4, number 3 would probably be Blade. Number 2 would probably be Chris Evans, Human Torch, and then number 1 would be Gambit. I had so much fun with Danny Chatham as Gambit. You guys had no idea. Like, especially on my second and third viewing, I was like, wow, he actually may be my favorite cameo of this film, and he was. I mean, seriously, I think that I had a lot of fun with his character. It was probably the most shocking cameo of the whole movie, if I'm being honest. I mean, it was pretty shocking to me. And the cameos really did serve a purpose in the story, which I loved. And it was just honestly great because it gives you the 3 different types of cameos that Marvel usually gives you, which is that 1-second cameo, the cameo that's in there for a little bit but not too long, and then the cameos that are actually genuine characters. The 1-second cameo I was so ecstatic about, which was the Hulk, like Wolverine versus Hulk. They basically showed that fight happened, which my jaw literally dropped when I saw that, because I was like, there's no way they're going to do that. And that was a theory that I was kind of counting on, them actually having a fight. But they teased it, and that's all I needed, especially with Hugh Jackman in that amazing brown and yellow suit. That's my favorite Wolverine suit, and he looked great in it. Obviously, Henry Cavill's Wolverine was also great, too. But I just love how the use of cameos in this movie is how cameos should be done in general. I'm just going to say that right now. As a cameo, though, or as a character that serves the story, X-23 has to be my favorite one. If you couldn't tell already, I mean, oh, they're crossed. Anyway, like, X-23 has to be my favorite. It just... every single moment that an interaction she had with Logan in this film, just, I don't know why, almost got me emotional in some ways. I guess because Logan is just a really, like... It's one of my favorite movies of all time, favorite comic book movies of all one of my favorite comic book movies of all time, one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time, my favorite Wolverine movie. I mean, that may be why, and that movie really does have a special place in my heart, but every single time that they were on screen together, especially that scene at the fireplace, that they teased in the trailers, like, man, it was just great, and I think that was really awesome. Also, guys, sorry for the horrible camera angles. I am not good at filming on my phone. I'm filming on my phone because I don't want you guys just to see me in one spot, like, standing still the whole time, just yapping. And it's so much easier to edit on my phone, if I'm being honest. So this is why I'm doing it, and I'm having a lot more fun doing this anyway. Also, small side note, are we going to find out in the future, like, why Thor was holding Wade? I mean, could that be something that happens in Secret Wars? I think that would be pretty cool if they actually paid that off. Like, that would be pretty sick if they remember that in 3 years and they're like, hey, let's pay that off. That right there would be awesome. Now, if I'm going to talk about some of the bad things I don't really enjoy that much about this film that I really have noticed, especially on my third viewing, some of the comedy doesn't really hit as well, especially with Paradox. I mean, honestly, most of his jokes, if not all of them, weren't really funny. I also feel that there was a pacing issue in the middle of the film that really kind of just sort of threw the film off a little bit. And to me, the second act is probably the weakest of all 3 of the acts. I mean, the second act does have all the cameos and Dogpool, which surprisingly is like one of my favorite parts of the movie. Like, I always get like so happy whenever Mary Poppins shows up, especially on my second viewing was by far my best viewing of the movie, because I noticed a lot, and just in general there was a lot that I really appreciated and enjoyed more out of the film. But to me, the second act is definitely the weakest. The third act has some really awesome moments. We get the mask, man. We get the Wolverine mask. Like, I know we didn't specifically get this look, but the mask just looked amazing, and it honestly got me excited to see characters like possibly Green Lantern and like Batman wear the stuff with like the white eyes and everything. I just thought it looked really well. Although it did really look CGI'd a lot, because they did the same thing that they do with Deadpool's eyes, where they animate them and move them, and that really did make the whole mask just look CGI'd, even though it wasn't. I don't think, right? I mean, it didn't look CGI'd at first, but this movie is definitely not the weakest of the Deadpool trilogy. It's probably my second favorite film of the Deadpool trilogy. Deadpool 1 is on top. Then this one comes at number 2. And then number 3 is Deadpool 2. But they really did pull off a really great trilogy. And it's kind of a big full circle moment for Deadpool, considering that his trilogy is ending with him in the MCU. And I've seen some people saying that this film isn't as emotional as the other two. While I do agree on that, some people are acting like it isn't emotional at all, which isn't true. And I feel like some people are also getting like Wade's motivations mixed up in this film, because they think that some people that I've heard or just have seen online just think that the whole thing with Wade not becoming an Avenger was the whole major like plot that moved some of it forward. That moved some of the points forward, but overall it's just a story about him wanting to matter, and that may have kickstarted with him not being accepted into the Avengers. But if you guys see his lifestyle in the film and everything, it's something he's not happy about, and his relationship struggling and everything like that, and everything in between. So I feel like this, at the core of this movie, it's just about him trying to be something and matter. He's trying to matter, and he also wants to do something bigger than himself, you know, like that's why he goes to Happy Hogan to join the Avengers, which doesn't happen. Which also, side note about that I think happened in 2018, so technically they could have done an RDJ cameo there, because that was before he had died, before Infinity War, a few months before Thanos had come. So Tony was still alive, Cap was still out there, everybody was still alive at that point, so they could have done that. That would have been sick, but Happy's still cool anyway, and I feel like they want to save RDJ for Secret Wars, if I'm being totally honest, and as they should. Also, as I was talking there, I remembered that there's a huge issue with this film, continuity-wise, and like I thought that the Deadpool movies weren't a part of like the main Fox universe, and then Paradox says that the anchor being that was in his universe was Logan, and he died, and that just doesn't make any sense to me. And then why was X-23 in the Void? Like, wouldn't she be safe if she was from the same universe? My thing is that she's probably a variant, but she went through the same experience essentially. But just, it was so confusing, man. Like, were we supposed to know that Deadpool was a part of the same universe as Wolverine? I thought that they were separate. They just made references to each other. Like, we knew that they were part of an X-Men universe, but was it the same one as Logan? Because I really don't remember that, and I feel like that's a big plot thing that they had, because that just messes up with the whole timeline of the Fox universe and all that stuff. Like, that's really confusing me now. But because then in Deadpool 2, because that movie takes place after Logan is an apocalyptic world in 2029. So how, I mean, I guess it's just fourth wall breaking stuff. I mean, Wade could do anything he wants, I guess, with the fourth wall breaking, which I guess kind of fixes the problem. It was just confusing me, throwing me off a little bit, especially when I saw it again earlier today for my third time. I was like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. Also, is it just me, or did they make Wolverine take his shirt off in the film just so they could release another hot toy? Or just so that they could, you know, post it online for people to go watch the film? Because that felt a little bit unnecessary, but I feel like they probably thought it was necessary for the audience, and that was definitely played off as a comedic joke. But that really, I don't think that was necessary, but show off Hugh's gains. I don't care. I mean, he worked hard, he trained hard for this film. Show it off. He has every right to. Also, side note, when Hunter B-15 shows up and she like arrests Dr. Paradox, or Paradox, I don't know, is he a doctor? Did they call him Dr. Paradox, or is that just something I was calling him? Anyway, when they do that, she says, I have a feeling your work isn't done yet. Obviously, then Deadpool said, until you're 90. I mean, I feel like that's the biggest implication that we got for the MCU, of how they're probably going to return eventually. I mean, Deadpool's definitely going to return. We're probably going to see Thor hold him, or at least he'll make a reference towards it. And I hope we see Hugh Jackman again. I think that would be pretty awesome. Now let's talk about the full pros of this film. There were a majority of the jokes that did hit for me. There were some really funny jokes in this film. It definitely is going to go down as one of, if not the funniest MCU film to me. And this is the first film I feel like Marvel has done where they have introduced the multiverse and done it correctly, because even Spider-Man No Way Home had some small, little flaws in the multiverse because they weren't really sure what to do with it at that point because Phase 4 had just started and everything. But I mean, I feel like they did the multiverse well. The cameos were done really well, and they had three of the types of cameos in this film, which I already mentioned, but I love that they did that because that's how you should do a cameo. They spread them out perfectly. Also, guys, side note, San Diego Comic-Con is in 4 hours. I'm way too close to the camera. San Diego Comic-Con is in 4 hours, and I am very excited right now. I wish I could be there, but I'm very excited regardless. That's disgusting. I'm not showing you guys that. Okay. Anyway, Deadpool and Wolverine, I think my final rating on the film is going to be about an 8.7 out of 10. I gave it a 9 last night, but then after this viewing, it went down 0.3 points, which isn't really a huge difference for me, but still, it went down to 8.7 out of 10. If you guys watched my MCU film ranking video that I just posted today, go check it out. I know it's 54 minutes, but it's worth it because I filmed it for 2 hours, and then edited it for an hour and a half, which doesn't sound too long, but it was until 12 in the morning, so I really did do well. I really did try my best in that video, and I'm really proud of that video. But I did put Deadpool and Wolverine at number 9 for the overall MCU, and I think that I feel very comfortable with saying that it goes at number 9 for the MCU as of right now, because it has some of the best MCU fights and moments. It has some of the funniest lines in the MCU. Actually, we have to talk about that one fight scene in the third act, and this one joke that I cannot stop. I can't believe that they actually let Kevin Feige let them make fun of this. So let's talk about that joke. So you guys know when Deadpool, Elektra, Gambit, and Blade and X-23 are all heading towards Cassandra Nova's base, they have one of the Punisher's big rocket launchers, and then Wesley Snipes says there's only going to be one Blade, and he says, I'm the one and only Blade, there's only going to be one Blade. Deadpool just looks at the camera. I thought that was hilarious because I am so into this Blade news every single week of them announcing there's no new director or something like that. Just that was hilarious to me. There were a lot of other funny jokes, but that one is one of the most memorable ones, and I can't believe Kevin Feige let them get away with this. And if I had to guess, I mean, it's just wild to me that Wesley Snipes came back as Blade before we got our MCU Blade. That's so wild to me. How does that happen, man? That's just crazy. Moving on from the jokes, though, I just have to say, that fight scene in the third act when we see Logan and Wade fighting in this 2D shot way of a comic book panel just fighting the whole Deadpool Corps, that was some of the best action I think that we've seen from the MCU, and one of my favorite third act fights from Marvel, and I think that it was really fun, and it was a really good fight. It didn't last too long, but overall, it was a very good fight. I really did enjoy it a lot. It's probably one of my favorites of the MCU. Definitely third act wise. I mean, there's better fights, obviously, the airport fight in Civil War, the fight on Titan in Infinity War, the final battle in No Way Home. All of that are great, but I think that this one is definitely up there on those rankings. Whoa, we upside down here? We were upside down. Okay. So, Deadpool and Wolverine overall, for people that are watching this that haven't seen it, because I feel like there's probably some. I have to sneeze. No, I don't. I don't have to sneeze. But yeah, for the people that are watching that are still conflicted on their thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine, it's just a fun film. I think that's something we can all agree on. They did really well with this movie, and it was definitely what the MCU needs right now, and it was a big breath of fresh air for MCU fans like me, considering Marvel's track record, and they make fun of Marvel's track record in this film a lot. It's also very gory, and I think that they kind of sometimes maybe abuse that rated R thing, but it's no biggie. I've watched The Boys, I can handle it. But man, this film really met up to my expectations, I will say. I mean, I think that it was such a fun film. Hugh Jackman stands out in this movie, and he gave us a great performance as Wolverine. Not his best performance. His best performance, I think, is forever just going to be Logan, but it's one of his best, and I think that it was a lot of fun just to see him back, and we got to see a different side to him that we haven't really seen before. Like, they were teasing a lot, and I feel like that different side to him was just like this guy who, number one, has the comic accurate suit, was a part of the X-Men, but just didn't really care about them. Kind of like, you know, comic book Wolverine, but in live action, which is kind of stupid to say, but it's kind of true. Because he's always been slightly different than he is in the comics and all the other movies, but I feel like this one was a direct representation from his exact character in some of the comics, which I really appreciated. And if you guys tuned into my live streams and my podcast, you know that I had a theory about them doing a flashback to Logan's X-Men and how they died, and how they could have brought back like the OG X-Men actors and everything to play those characters in their classic suits and show how they died with that opportunity. They didn't do that, and I think that was a slight missed opportunity, but that's also just me speaking, saying I wish they did my idea. Also, another thing about the suits, I think Deadpool's suit was really great in this movie, and it was honestly really awesome. I'm so glad that I bought that hot toy, although it's not going to be shipped for as soon as everybody else is getting them. A little bit disappointed by that, but it's okay. We're okay now. Another thing that I gotta say is I didn't really like how every time we had an emotional moment with majority of the times that we had an emotional moment with Logan, it was just undercut by a Deadpool joke that did not work at all. I don't know if that's just like, you know, people could say that as classic Deadpool, but at the same time, I feel like the movie should have given us a few more seconds to like a minute or two just with that tone of just seriousness, because when the movie gets serious, it gets serious, and then I feel like they just undercut it by doing a joke too quickly usually in this film. That I didn't really enjoy that much, especially on my third viewing. I really noticed that a lot. Also, for a little bit of an Easter egg breakdown, I noticed a lot of different stuff in my third viewing today, and I only remember like 4 things that I saw, but in the void they had the OG Thor helmet, which I'll throw up on screen here somewhere. I believe they had an OG Captain America shield in there. They had a helicarrier, and they had the Milano, the Guardians of the Galaxy ship, which I thought was like, I was like, whoa, wait, that's the Milano. And I was like, wait, that's pretty cool. And I mean, those were just a few things that I noticed that I had to throw out there that I think were pretty cool details, especially the Thor helmet. I thought that was really cool. But yeah, I think I'm sort of nearing the end of my spoiler review here. I mean, I hope you guys like these forms of videos. I mean, just, it's definitely more fun for me to do this, and I think that it's pretty fun to just do this, like film on my phone, then edit it, and then post it, you know? Those tissues are there for when Deadpool shows up in the movie, okay? Nothing else. Also, is it just me, or did Deadpool make fun of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for saying the power in the Marvel Universe is going to change forever? When The Rock said that, he said the hierarchy in the DC Universe is going to change forever. I think that if that was the intention with that joke, I think that they did a really good job with that joke. Did he think so? Absolutely not, though. I do love this statue, though. I don't love the movie, but I do love this statue, though. But he did not like the joke. I told him about it, and he's been making that face all day. I'm just saying. Dwayne, man, you gotta stop peeing in cups. I feel like we're never gonna get that Wolverine mask again, though, because some people I've seen didn't really enjoy it that much. They thought it was too CGI'd, which at some points, yes, it looked very CGI. But I honestly, just seeing that helmet made me excited and hope that we get to see Batman, Green Lantern, other characters that have those white eyes just have them, because they look really cool. I also absolutely love the soundtrack in this film. It's really awesome. It's a really great soundtrack. Not one of the best soundtracks, but it is really fun, really great. I love that part when Deadpool and Wolverine are fighting in the van, and then Logan just slams Wade's head onto the radio twice, and we just hear 2 Greatest Showman songs. I think that's really funny. Greatest Showman is one of my favorite movies of all time, my favorite musical of all time. So, you know, that was really cool to see. And speaking of that fight, that was a pretty good fight. I mean, I really enjoyed that fight. There were technically 3 fights with Deadpool and Wolverine in this film. 2 fist fight, like 2 like physical fights, then 1 just verbal fight, which I thought some of the stuff that Logan said in that was like, wow, like he's just being real there. I mean, I thought that was really great. Just that scene right there when he was yelling at Deadpool at Wade because he lied to him or made an educated wish. I was like, wow, this feels like Wolverine right here. Like, Wolverine would be this pissed at somebody if they lied to them and something like that. Like, Hugh Jackman did amazing. I mean, that scene just proved it for me. But, I mean, that fight scene was really great. It's just so fun to see these 2 fight, considering that they both regenerate, and I think that was pretty cool. I mean, it was just... I mean, we all know how the fight ended, but I think that it was a pretty unique fight, and definitely one of the better fights of the film. And if I had to rank the fights of the film, I would probably put the fight with the Marvel Fox team at the bottom. The first fight with Deadpool and Wolverine at number, 4, I think. Number 3 would go to the one in the van. Number 2 would probably go to the opening scene. Number 1 would probably go to that 2D shot fight. That was amazing. One of my favorite fights of the MCU. It was just really awesome. That one grew on me after my second viewing. I was like, wow, that's a really good fight. So that's probably my favorite fight of the whole film, to be honest. Also, guys, a little side note, I did travel the multiverse as well, and I did collect Ant-Man's head, so... Cassandra Noah was not the only one who'd be Ant-Man, because I did too. So, let's just get one thing straight there. I just had to say something about that. Alright, I'm going to start to wrap things up here. Overall, 8.7 out of 10. I had a ton of fun with this film. And overall, it was just a fun time. Very comedic. Has some of the best action sequences of the MCU. It has some really great suits, obviously, as you guys know. And overall, I just had a lot of fun with this film, and it's definitely what I had hoped it would have been, and it was a little bit more than that, and it had some great cameos. But the cameos were treated very well in this film, and that's one of the things I love most about it. But also, it was just overall a great time, and I think that the MCU is starting to get on the right track, but if I'm being totally honest, we're not going to find that out officially until tonight at San Diego Comic-Con. Let's fucking go, baby. I am so excited. I'm going to be live later doing a watch party on it. By the time this comes out, there may be like 3 hours till I go live, 2 hours till I go live. You know, I'm going to be going live, just doing like 30 minutes before the panel starts, just doing some final predictions and everything. But anyway, I'm going to stop self-promoting. Actually, I don't give a shit. I'm on my own YouTube channel. I'll self-promote if I want to. But, yeah, I'm going to be going live later. I hope you guys come join. It's a pretty late stream today, but I'm also going to be going live tomorrow on Sunday and doing a spoiler talk for Deadpool and Wolverine, just to hear what you guys think about the film. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this spoiler review. And let me know if you like these formats of videos, because I did one of these in the past, and I don't know if you guys really necessarily enjoy them. But if you do, I'll do them more, because I really love doing them. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the spoiler review, and I will see you guys maybe on the stream tonight, maybe on the stream tomorrow, but overall, I'll just see you guys soon. Peace out, guys, and I'll see you next time.